Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining myself and my colleague Allison today for enhancing your Seesaw lessons. So I first just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Taya Delahanty. Hi, everybody. I work for the Instructional Technology Department. Myself and my colleague Allison today. And sorry, I had a little feedback there. I work for the Instructional Technology Department. This is my 21st year in the Rochester City School District. And I started my career at number 9 school and taught there for 15 years. And now I work with the IT department. As I mentioned, my colleague Allison is here with me today. She's going to be monitoring the chat on YouTube. And that YouTube chat is for you to use to capture your questions that you have as I'm going through some of the things today for Seesaw. You don't have to put present in the comments, just really use that chat to write any questions you might have. Before we begin today, I'd just like to remind everyone to use the chat responsibly. Allison again will be going through the chat and throughout the session at some natural stopping points, I'll ask her to share with us some questions that might have come up more than once. And I'll do the best to answer them today. And if I don't have the answer, I will get back to you. We are also going to work on posting a FAQ sheet for all the questions that were asked today. So stay tuned for that. That will be posted in RCSD Learns under online support. So before I get started with the presentation, I just wanted to review the learning targets that you're going to work towards today during this session. So the first learning target is I can create a lesson using Seesaw icons. Second, I can create multimedia instructions in Seesaw. And third, I can add links to Seesaw lessons. I have some other tips and tricks that I can go through if there's time, but those are definitely the top 3 that we're going to be focused on. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay. And I'm going to start with RCSD Learns. I'm starting here because I think it's really important that everyone is familiar and aware of how to get to some of the resources for Seesaw and RCSD Learns. Under staff, if you go to delivery platforms, you will see the 3 learning management systems that Rochester City School District students will be using this year for their work. Pre-K through 2nd grade will be using Seesaw. You can click here where it says how to get started. We've created a website that has tips and tricks, getting started guides, and other information for you here. Your families also have access to a getting started guide. So I want to show you where you can find that and also where you can direct your families to on RCSD Learns. So under families and students, you will go to Seesaw and Google Classroom. Here, you will go scroll down and there's a quick guide to help students and families get started. We are also working on developing videos for families, so stay tuned for that, and they will be posted here, as well as the Office of Parent Engagement will be sharing information with families. This also will be coming soon in Spanish for those families that need the document translated. Okay, so now I'm going to go over to the Seesaw website. When you first get to the Seesaw website, it looks like this. This is what is in the superintendent's conference day agenda for today. This is where all of your materials will be for today's workshop. Many of you already have attended a Seesaw workshop with me throughout the month of August. And I know so many of you have been busy exploring Seesaw. We're going to really focus our time on the tips and tricks tab today. So almost everything I'm going to speak to is available to you also on this tab. I realize that I'm going to be going over quite a few pieces of information for you. So please don't hesitate to come back to the Seesaw website so that you can review what we've covered. Some of you have been asking, what settings should we use when in Seesaw for our teacher settings? So I do just want to take a minute and go over this section on the Getting Started document for teachers, okay? You should explore your class settings and set up your classroom so that it works best for you. But we are suggesting a few settings be turned off, okay? One of the biggest things that I really want to point out right now is that we are asking that you turn off Enable Family Access. And the reason that is because that will have you print out the family access letter. That is not the letter your students need to access Seesaw at home. What they need is their home learning student codes. So make sure first that you have all of your students connected to the Seesaw class app before you're sending home anything about enabling family access. And as a department, we will be sending more information out to you about family access, okay? So students can see each other's work. We actually just had this totally removed from your settings about 15 minutes before this meeting, so I didn't have the chance to update this screenshot. So that is turned off, so your students will no longer see each other's work. We're suggesting that you leave on new items require approval, and students can edit their work. So if you click on this little arrow here, it will allow them to edit their work, okay? Those are your suggested settings, and again, they are on the Seesaw website under Getting Started, Teacher Login and Teacher View. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip over into my Seesaw account. And I want to just show everyone what the home learning codes look like. If your students want to access Seesaw on a device other than their RCSD issued Chromebook, you will need to send home the home learning student codes. You do not need to do this unless students are using a different device besides the Chromebook, okay? That's like if they want to use a tablet at home or a phone to put the Seesaw class app on. So you'll click on Home Learning Student Codes. Oops, sorry about that. And then you'll select either print codes or download codes. The great thing about Seesaw is they make it extremely teacher and student friendly. So if you're not sure what to do with these home learning student codes, there's a letter right here for you, okay? And you can read through all the steps. And then each student on your roster will have an individual learning code. If you want to mail this to families, you can. Maybe you have your parents' phone numbers. You can just text them this code and the students can log in, okay? So this is the biggest piece. They have to download the class app to get their work. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing that. And now we're gonna talk about creating assignments. Okay, I know most of you in this, because this is our enhancing our lessons class, you already know how to create an assignment. So I'm going to go through a few different things that you can include in your assignments today. So to create an assignment, you're going to press the word add, and then you're going to click assign an activity. Okay, this will automatically take you to your activity library. Here is where all of the activities that you've created will appear. So let's create a new activity. Okay. Every activity you create, you're going to give a name, and really think about those naming conventions so that when you go to archive your activities, you are able to do so in an orderly and efficient fashion. So for today's workshop, I'm just going to write 914 Jack Hartman video. Who doesn't love Jack Hartman? Those of us who have taught primary know who Jack Hartman is, okay? So, number one, every assignment should start with click on add response. Now, the cool thing about Seesaw is they have all these great icons. And if you would like to include the icons in your instruction so that students have a visual of what to do, you can do that very easily. So I'm just going to show you on the tips and tricks tab right now. If you scroll down, you will see a section called Seesaw icons. You can make this document larger by clicking on the arrow here in the top right corner, okay? And honestly, these shortcuts are going to be really easy for you to remember. So it's kind of like writing code. So if you want the add response button to show up in your instructions, you would type :add : and then that will show up in your directions when you click save. So you'll want to keep this handy, especially as you're starting to use your Seesaw icons. So click on add response. Number two, I want students to watch the Jack Hartman video, okay? And there I'm just gonna type the word video so that they can see the camera. When they're done watching the video, I want them to tell me something that they enjoy about September. Okay, and I want them to draw a picture . And they can use the pen tool and record your voice with the microphone to tell me what you like, okay? And then 4 will be sure to click the green check when you are done. And like I said, those codes are really easy to remember. You can see that it says add for add response, video for video, okay, check for check. So you'll get it down really quick. I want to make sure everyone's aware that you can add your voice instructions to your activities. And this is going to help those students that might have a hard time reading all of this text and it's also a great way to connect with your students so that they can hear your voice. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, you guys, this week for our video, our Jack Hartman video, it's going to be all about September. This is what you're going to do. First, click on Add Response. 2, watch the Jack Hartman video. 3, tell me something you enjoy about September. Draw a picture with the pen tool and record your voice with the microphone to tell me what you like. 4, don't forget to click the green check when you are done. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. And then the next piece I want to show you are the multimedia instructions. This is another great way for you to give an example to students of what they need to do. So to do that, for this activity, I'm just going to select drawing, okay? And then I'm going to go find my Jack Hartman video. There it is. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to press pause because we don't need to listen to it right now. Copy my link, okay? And now I'm going to show you how you can put links into Seesaw. To put a link to your activity in Seesaw, you're going to press the 3 dots and you're going to press on link. Paste your link here, your YouTube video. And there it is. Now this is too big. I want to make it smaller. Okay, so now you can see the students will just click on the link here. And then here is where I want them to draw their activity or to draw what they like in September. So this is actually an activity I'm making right now, right in Seesaw. It's not a Google Doc. It's just created right in Seesaw. Okay, so now I'm going to make my multimedia instructions. Okay, so you can record yourself with the microphone explaining to the students what they need to do. Hi, everyone. So I know that you have to watch our Jack Hartman video about September. What I want you to do is you're going to click on the link that you see next to the picture, okay? And after you listen to the video, underneath the directions where it says draw what you like to do in September, I want you to draw a picture of what you like to do. You can use the pen tool at the bottom of your screen to draw your picture. When you're all done, use the microphone to record and tell me what you like to do in September. Okay. So let me just show you right now what those instructions will look like. Oops, sorry. So there they are attached, and you can see that there are some, that there's a play button there for the students to click on. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to add a template for student responses. I'm going to quickly add my Jack Hartman video back in. And yes, you have to do this twice if you're just creating it right in Seesaw, but it's pretty fast to do. I'll show you a couple other examples of lessons I've made with multimedia instructions too. So you can make it smaller, whatever will work for your group of kids. Okay, press check. And then I'm ready to go. I'm ready to save my activity. I want you to watch the student instructions because you'll be able to see the icons there as well. Okay, so you can see that the code I wrote put the icons in my directions. The students can play the instructions, and they can also play the multimedia example here so they can see what to do. All right, so I know Allison is monitoring the chat. So Allison, could you stop and share with me some questions that people have?
Yeah, absolutely. Can you hear me?
Yep, thank you.
Okay, so one of the biggest themes is, can you just go over the invites and the codes, like when they need them, going through Rock Connect, what parents need codes for, stuff like that. Just go through that one more time.
Sure, thank you. So all of your students, K through 2, will be picking up a Chromebook at school. When they log into their Chromebook, they will log into Rock Connect and see the Seesaw app. They do not need the home learning code if they are going in through Rock Connect. If you have students who want to work on a different device, like maybe there's a family that wants the students to have the Seesaw class app on their phone, you will give them the home learning code letter. And then that will get the students logged into the same thing they'll see in Rock Connect. Okay, so only the home learning codes for those kids that want to use a different device. Are there any other common questions, Allison?
There were some questions about the link with Power School. When someone's added in Power School, when will they see it in Seesaw? But also people that don't have classes rostered in Power School, such as librarians or other such people, when they're going to get that and how that all works.
Okay, those are all great questions. And we just met with the Seesaw tech team today, like I said, like 15 minutes before this call. So let's talk about the people who don't have a rostered class right now. For example, SL teachers, ENL, speech, OT, that group of people. You will not see Seesaw and Rock Connect yet. We are building a class in Power School, and then you will be pushed out, then Seesaw will be pushed out to your Rock Connect. You will still need, though, to connect with that homeroom teacher to be invited as a teacher in that class. Or once you have your Seesaw in Rock Connect, you can invite students to your class. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense to you guys. You want to keep it as easy as possible for the students, because if they have too many classes to go through, they're going to miss their work, okay? So if you work closely with a homeroom teacher, my suggestion would be to get invited to his or her class, and then you can hand out work to specific students. Those of you who have a roster in Power School, a homeroom roster in Power School, it will appear, Seesaw will appear in your Rock Connect within 24 to 48 hours. I know that there has been a lot of changes between the rosters and people's positions in the district. So please keep in mind, if your registrar has not given you a class list yet, then you don't have access to Seesaw in Rock Connect yet. Once you have a roster in Power School, give it 24 to 48 hours, and then it will appear for you in Rock Connect. Okay, so I'm gonna keep moving on, and then I'll come back and we'll do some more questions at another natural stopping point, okay? Let me share my screen again with you. All right. So what I want to do right now is I want to just show everyone how you can assign an assignment to just a few students in your class. And this is going to be very important for those of you who are support invited into the homeroom class. You don't want to hand out an assignment to everyone. You only need to hand it out to a couple students. So you're going to go into your classroom library. Okay, and let's hand out this Jack Hartman assignment. All right. When you click assign, you're going, if you have multiple classes assigned to you, you can click all of the classes there like this. Or if you have a class, say I'm the reading teacher and I reading support, and I only want to hand this assignment out to Nathan, I'm going to do so just by clicking his name. And then I'm going to press the green check, okay? It will tell me only one student in the class is going to be assigned that activity. You can also schedule your activity for when it should be released to the students. And just note, when you're doing that, the time defaults to when you are making the assignment. So you want it to release at 8 o'clock in the morning, probably, not, 8 o'clock at night if for some reason you're doing the work then, okay? So there it goes. And before you click assigned, you can just check all your work over and it's ready to go, okay? And there I can see that this has been assigned to one student, okay? So something else I wanted to, we just touched on the Seesaw icons, making a multimedia example, or making multimedia examples for students, as well as adding links, okay? So let me show you something else that keeps popping up on the internet about Seesaw, okay? And that is putting together a daily schedule. And I know just from being on Facebook and social media, this is also a big question among a lot of people that I'm friends with. So I want to just show you what I did, okay? What I did first was it was easier for me to create my weekly schedule in a Google slide deck. It was just easier for me to manipulate and make the changes I needed to and easily implement it into Seesaw. All right. So what I did is I created a Google slide deck with all 5 days of the week. And then I put in our schedule, and this is just a fake schedule I put together. Okay, but you'll see that I include these whole group Zoom sessions are blue. So I color coded them. These wiggle breaks and times where they're not needing to do work are in yellow. And then green is independent work they need to do on Seesaw. And red tells them they need to go into a different class. So let me show you how I assigned this to my class. And I know that this is a lot of text for our K2 students, but when you see how I assigned it to them, and also remember that you're going to want to share your Seesaw screen with them and explain to them explicitly what you are doing. So let me play my multimedia example for you so you can see what I explained to the students.
Good morning, everyone. Today is Monday, September 14th, and today is an A day. I just wanted to take a minute to go over our schedule for today and let you know how you can join us on your Zoom. So on your schedule, where you see blue boxes, that means it's time for a Zoom, okay? So you'll see a link for our Zoom session and you'll click on that and it will take you to our whole group or small group meetings, okay? So as you can see, we have 3 Zoom meetings scheduled for today, all right? So today, our first stop is gonna be our whole class Zoom session, which is our morning meeting and our ELA lesson, okay? After that, you're going to go back into your Seesaw account and you're going to work on your ELA activity for today. Then you get to take a wiggle break, okay? Anywhere you see yellow means it's a wiggle break, and anywhere you see green, it means you have work on Seesaw to do. Where you see the pink, that means that you have work to do for your special subjects teacher. So go over to the top left side of your class and click on your name and you'll find your special subject for today. After specials today is going to be lunch. Make sure you clean up your plates and your cups after you're done eating. Okay, after lunch, we're going to connect and we're going to work in small groups. We're going to connect all together and then I'm going to put some of you in the waiting room to wait your turn. Don't leave if you're in the waiting room. That just means it's not your turn yet. Then I'm going to have you take another wiggle break, okay? And then join me for a whole class math activity. So we're all going to Zoom for math class today. After our math lesson, I'm going to have you guys go back into Seesaw and you're going to work on your math work that's been assigned to you. And you will also have a science or social studies activity and an independent reading activity to work on. When you've finished all of these steps, that means you're done for the day. Make sure you work hard and you try your best today. I can't wait to see you on Zoom and I can't wait to see all the hard work you do.
Okay, so some of you might be wondering, how did she do that? So I'm going to show you exactly how I did that with Tuesday's example. I'm going to go into my Google slide deck and I'm going to use the snipping tool. The snipping tool is going to probably become your favorite tool on your computer. I'm going to snip a picture of my Tuesday schedule, and then I'm just going to press copy, or I can go to file and I'm just going to press, edit. I'm sorry. You can go to edit and press copy, or you can do this double piece of paper. All right. Now I'm going to go into Seesaw. I'm going to make a new activity for today or for tomorrow. So 9:15 schedule. Okay. I'm going to go into my multimedia instructions and examples. Oops. I am going to go into drawing. Okay. I can resize this how I want. And then I can go through this for the students if I want to record myself again. Okay. That's how you get the picture in. Then you're going to go down to add template for student responses. This is going to be where you're going to put your Zoom links. Okay, so let me show you again how to get that. I have my Zoom link right here. I'm going to go to the 3 dots. I'm going to go to link, put the website in, and you'll see it automatically gives you the Zoom picture, which is very helpful. And you can resize it, whatever works for you, okay? I think I made this, my main picture, a little too little. Now I know my other 2 Zoom sessions are the exact same link, so I'm just copying them again and posting them where my Zooms will be happening for the students, okay? And then press the check mark. I know I didn't write any instructions here. You could write, you don't have to use like the step-by-step instructions either. You can just write, hi students and families. Here is our schedule for today. As you work through, click on the activities, cross them out, and save as a draft. At the end of the day, click the green check mark. Okay, so I'm going to hand this out to my students. I'm going to assign it to them. All of them get it. And I'm going to show you what it will look like from a student perspective. So if the students are going through, they can go through and they can X off what they've done with their pen tool and then click the draft feature. That will not turn it into me yet. Okay. Then the student can go back in again and open their work. And they can continue through crossing out and then press the green check mark when they're all done. Yours will probably look more like this with all different colors because that's the kids' favorite thing to do is to change the color of the pen. Okay, so when they're all done for the day, they're going to press the green check mark. And then you know that they finished all their work and that this activity will then drop off of their activity feed so that it doesn't appear as an assignment anymore. My only suggestion would be is to make sure you're archiving the activities, that activity each night, so students don't get confused as to which schedule they need to follow. So to archive an activity, you just click the 3 dots at the bottom and you'll see archive activity. And by archiving it, it goes off of your activity feed. And the number of activities students have to respond to will go down 1. Some other activities that I've done that I just want to show you with some links are this one right here. And if you've never heard of the Mystery Doug website before, it's a great website for some science activities for your students. So I posted the link to the Mystery Doug web video that's called How Does Hair Grow? And then you'll see the directions when I play the multimedia directions.
Okay, so here's your workspace for week 1 science Mystery Doug video. And the question you're going to explore is how does hair grow? So first what you're going to do is you are going to click on the video, which you'll see right here on your screen when it's your time to work, okay? Then you're going to go and you're going to answer the question, or you're going to write one fact that you learned about how hair grows. So you have to watch the video first before you write your answer here. And you can use the pen tool or you can use the text box tool. And last, this is where you're going to draw a picture of yourself with your favorite hairstyle. When you're all done, remember to click the green done check mark.
Okay. And as you can tell, your directions don't have to be perfect. I mean, you don't have to keep re-recording yourself if you stumble a little bit. We're all human. So that's another example of how you can put a link into an activity on Seesaw. I think that's a great way to keep the students on the Seesaw page versus jumping out into another website. So I'm going to take a minute. I'm going to stop and see if Allison has gone through the chat about any questions that I can answer.
Yeah, so we had a couple about the sample lesson you were just showing about if you can share your slides for people to use. And going along with that, you had mentioned archiving them. Should they give feedback before archiving?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. The feedback I'm going to get into in 1 second. Definitely give feedback before you archive, but I'm going to show you some different feedback options, okay? And of course, I'll share that slide deck with you. I will put it on RCSD Learns. I'll show you right where I'm going to put it, and then you can get to it. I'll put it on there after this meeting, okay? So I'll show you where I'm going to put it first, and then we're going to actually get into feedback and commenting now. Were there any other questions, Allison?
Yep. So going along with that, when you posted that assignment, do you post it as an activity or an announcement?
That's a great question because a lot of people are wondering, what should I do? Post it as an announcement or post it as an activity? From a mom perspective of someone who used Seesaw last year with her 6-year-old, I loved when the teacher just put it in the activity feed because she can take it away later, but it's right there. There's no extra clicking. So I would just post like your daily schedule. You can do it both ways. And I have an example of both, but I think especially at the beginning of the year to leave it as an activity so that it's front and center is going to be very important to the kids and to the parents to be able to find your Zooms and the work they need to do.
Okay, and one more that a few people asked is how can they share an assignment with other teachers of other grade levels?
Oh, I'll show you that too. So sharing, slide deck, and feedback. We'll go over all of those things right now, okay? Like you guys have my agenda in front of you. All right. So here we are I'm going to go back to the Seesaw website, okay? Now, those of you who have been on my trainings before in August, we went through the organizing tab. So I want you to go down and I'm going to put the slide deck that I created for the daily activities. I'll put that under the weekly calendar of activities for you. And it will open and it will ask you to make a copy. So just check back probably about 2:45. I'll have it in there for you.
Take time for one more question before you go on?
Sure.
Okay, someone asked, a few people have asked about assigning groups. Do they always have to assign it individually or can they make groups?
You can't make groups within your class, okay? So if you need to assign like to one of your reading groups, you're going to need to go through and click those specific kids. That being said, I think that is the most efficient and clear way for the students to receive their work. Because again, if you create a class for some students to join,
they are going to have to go to their name and they're going to have to go through like a laundry list of classes to find your reading group work. So I think it's best for the teacher to just pick from the homeroom class so that the kids don't have to keep toggling between different classes back and forth. It can get too much for the younger ones. Okay, so let me talk about quickly how you can share activities you've made with one another, because you should definitely be dividing and conquering. There is too much work to do, and lean on your colleagues to help you. I'm a big fan of sharing work. So you'll go into your activities, okay? And my internet's going nice and slow right now, of course. When you get into your activity library, here it goes, it's going. You're going to be able to, oh my goodness. Sorry about that, you guys. Out of my control though. So you'll go to your activity library, and let's say I want to share this Jack Hartman video with someone, this activity. I'm going to open the activity, and then you'll go down to the bottom. Anytime you see these 3 dots, it means there's more. So click on that, and you're going to click on Share Activity. See where it says Get Teacher Link? Copy. And I'm going to go into my Outlook account, and I'm going to email it to myself. I just want you to see what it looks like when you get it emailed to yourself. Okay, test activity. When you email it to one of your colleagues, it'll look like this. And then I'll show you what it looks like when it opens. So you'll just click on this link that you get emailed, and then it will pop open in Seesaw, and it will say, save this activity so you can assign it to your class. And that's what you have to do. Now, another idea that you could do is you and your grade level partner, see it saved in my account right here. All right. Something else you might want to do is maybe you don't want my name on it. Okay, you want it to say your name. You can open it, open the assignment. You'll click on these 3 dots again, and you'll click Copy and Edit Activity. That way you can add your own voice to the instructions. You can change the title if you don't like the naming conventions and so forth. Okay, so that's something else you can do. My one suggestion to you is if you are sharing like your daily calendar or your some type of activity that has your personal Zoom link, don't share the activity with your Zoom link, because sometimes teachers will have, when people open it, they'll have the wrong Zoom link. So that's my one thing I want to make sure you guys are aware of. Okay. So that's how you share activities with each other. And now the feedback portion of Seesaw. This is one of the most powerful pieces that you are going to have in Seesaw so that you can communicate with your students back and forth. All right. So I'm going to go down. Now you're going to notice that, oops, sorry about that. You're going to notice that I made some activities today, and all of them say 9:14. The first activity you put on is the one that will be at the bottom. So if you want, when students get to your homeroom and open up your activity tab, if you want this schedule at the top, it has to be the last thing you assign. So if I'm actually deleting that Jack Hartman activity because I want to show you what it will look like. It's just something to keep in mind as you're assigning your work, that you want the kids probably to see their schedule first. Okay, so now I'm going to go down to my math work. Okay, I'm a teacher, and I noticed, I have 2 responses on my number bond work from today. So I'm going to open the activity, And at the bottom of your screen, you'll be able to see all of your students' work. Okay, so here's my one student that's done their work. All right, I'm going to check their work over. I love it, like it. The kids will love that you're liking their work. But you also should be making sure you're leaving comments to the students. Okay. Now, you're going to also want to, when I go into the next post, see the word next post, you don't have to keep closing it out. You can just scroll through the bottom, which is a really nice feature. When I click on comment here, now as you can see, this student did not finish their work, okay? So I'm going to write a comment. Okay. And if I want to leave another comment, maybe I want to leave an audio comment for the student. Instead of typing the comment, I'm also going to leave an audio comment. See the microphone? I'm going to click on that. Uh-oh, Nathan, it looks like you forgot to fill in your number bonds and you forgot to answer the question 10 plus 8. Make sure you're completing all of your work before you hand it in to me. Okay, so then the students can receive that feedback from you and hear what you're saying to them. They'll just press play. Students, it's a great practice to get into with kids is to have them comment back to you. Maybe Nathan didn't understand what he had to do here. So maybe he would comment and leave a voice text back to you saying, I didn't understand what to do. So you can model that to your students while you're teaching them how to use Seesaw. And that will come in time. This is not going to happen on the first day of school. But as you're going through using this platform, giving that audio feedback is going to be very powerful, and having the kids comment back to you is also going to be powerful. I also know the kids probably will figure this out very fast because they have a tendency to not be afraid to click on things. So if you get a notification that says, Nathan left you an audio comment, or Brady left you an audio comment, make sure you listen so they know that you're hearing what they said to you, okay? So those were the questions that I had from Allison on that part. I wanted to show you one other thing about the comments, because you're going to have, 20, 26 students to leave comments for. So a suggestion I have is to create a Google Doc with some common feedback. And then you can just copy and paste your feedback into the comment section on Seesaw. So that might help some of you save time, especially if you find yourself having to type the same thing over and over and over again. And just keep a running list of some common comments that you might use. These are just some ones I thought of this morning while I was getting ready for today's presentation. Okay. A couple things I wanted to just let you guys know before I have time for a Q&A, and I can show you a few more tips and tricks too. Coming soon to Seesaw. I think everybody on this session is going to be super happy about this one. In the middle of September, you are going to be able to pin an activity to the top of your page. So for those of you who have created a weekly calendar, or for those of you who have created some activity you want to appear first for the students to see, that is coming mid-September. Their engineers are working on that. Also in mid-September, a calendar view will be coming. So students can click on the calendar to view their assignments as well. And I haven't seen what the calendar view looks like, but I will make sure I make a training video to let everybody know how to use it and what it will look like from the student end once that is posted as an option in Seesaw. So Allison, are there any other questions?
Yes, there are lots of questions. So
Okay.
a couple at the end about when you were talking about getting that feedback. Can you send something back for them to redo it to finish it if it wasn't quite finished? And also, can you know if they have read or heard your feedback that you've left for them on those assignments they've turned in?
Okay, so let me go into my Seesaw account, and I'm going to be honest, you guys, with you. I'm going to go back to my class. When I was working on this with my colleague Larissa, when she opens up her students' work on hers, right underneath here, it says hand back to student. So I believe that Seesaw is going through some type of update, and that update did not, oh, I'm not sharing my screen either. Hold on a second. Sorry. Lots of things to remember. Okay, so let me go back. So when I was working with my colleague Larissa on our presentations, when she clicks on a student response, she has an option down here that says hand back, okay? For some reason, the update didn't hit my computer yet. So if you go in and you see that, that's what that means, is to hand it back to the students. If you don't see it yet, don't panic. It's probably coming, and we will communicate that to you through one of our instructional technology emails. The other thing you can have students do, if it's like a longer project, you could have them use the draft feature. And again, you're going to need to model this to your students. Share your screen, open the assignment, and they could hand in the draft feature to you and not click the green check mark. And if they click the draft, that means that you can look at it, but you know that they haven't handed it in yet. So if I click on the draft here, in Nathan's activity feed, he'll see that this draft, that he has the draft and it hasn't been handed in yet. So he'll have to click on show draft and go in and complete his work. Okay. Allison, was there another question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. The other part to that was, is there a way to know if the student has seen the feedback that you give to a student?
There's not a way on the Seesaw class app to see if students have viewed a message or their work. That was an easy answer. Probably
Okay.
not the answer everybody wanted.
Right.
I know that is something that Seesaw is working on, and when I spoke to them today regarding just some of the updates that they're going through, due to their overwhelming need of Seesaw, their engineers really are super busy, but it's on the table of a project for them to work on.
Okay, another question that came up quite a bit was around the organization with specials teachers. Are they going to have their own, or do they go under the classroom teachers, all that part of specials?
Okay, so yes, your specials teachers have their own Seesaw class. It's rostered for every single one of the sections pre-K through 2 that they've been assigned in Power School. So your students, and let me go into a student's account so I can kind of show you how it will look on a student's side, okay? So let me share my screen. Again, hold on one second. And if my friend, I'm going to use my roommate from college's son because I have his birthday memorized. It's the same day as hers. So if I need to log in again, I have it memorized. Okay, so this is a student's Rock Connect page, all right? When students get to Rock Connect, they're going to click sign in with Google. Okay. And they are going to click on Seesaw. Once they click on Seesaw, it's going to open for them. All right. And see where you'll see his name here in the top right corner. If you click on it, these will be their art classes, art, music, PE, and there'll be more if, like, say he has an ESL class and the ESL teacher wants his or her own class. All right. So that is where the student will click to toggle between the special subjects. So I hope that that answered that question.
Okay, so there was another one about in the beginning when you talked about the codes and turning off the parent communication. Some people said if they had already used that, what will happen now? A few people asked if they disable it.
They might have to print out the letters. Now, let me just explain to you why we are suggesting you turn this off. It's not because we want everyone to successfully make sure their students are on the class app, because that's where all of their work is housed. If you've handed out the family letter and had families download the Seesaw family app on their phone, it's okay. You don't have to turn it off, but you need to make sure you're explicit when you're explaining to them, kids cannot do their work on the family app. It has to be on the class app.
Okay. Someone asked about what you just showed, the order of the classes that a kid saw. Can you, is there a way to get those reordered where certain classes are showing first, like say homeroom?
Oh, yes. Good question. I forgot to mention that. It was in my brain to mention. So once you have your class rostered in Seesaw, you can go into your wrench and you can go to class name and you can change it to whatever you want. You're not going to mess it up. If you're the homeroom teacher, you're going to, if you put an asterisk, a couple asterisks in front of your class name, like I did, it will bump it up to the top. So that's why in the example I showed you, you'll see it has 2 asterisks here, homeroom 102. That's because it was bumped to the top. Before the teacher did that, it was art first. It's in alphabetical order. So you are gonna, if you're a homeroom teacher, want to make sure the students are bumping that up to the top.
I think that's all the time we have for yes.
Okay. So like I said at the beginning, Allison has captured the questions and I will do my best to answer them today. I have my to-do list. I will put the slide deck for you under the organizing tab, so you can use that if you would like to create your daily schedule. And feel free to email me. And I hope that you find great success and are able to connect with all of your students using Seesaw.